This is your brain. 3 pounds of wet electrical spaghetti. And this soggy little thing composes symphonies. It invented calculus. It is currently storing, in full 4K, the exact stupid thing you said at a party in 2014. And right now, it has exactly one question. How do we get more of the good stuff? Food? Gambling? Jumping out of a plane? Driving fast enough that the speedometer files a restraining order? A chemical shortcut that turns the entire reward system into a hostage situation? Your brain is open to suggestions. Your brain is, frankly, taking pitches. Hi, I'm MR.Q. Today we're talking about dopamine, and specifically about how your brain takes a perfectly good survival system and converts it into a small motivational goblin screaming one word. We'll get to the word. First, we have to kill a very popular idea. Dopamine is not pleasure juice. Your brain does not run, see pizza, release dopamine, achieve enlightenment, done. No, your brain is so much more annoying than that. Here's the actual math. Before you get a reward, your brain predicts how good it's going to be. Then reality arrives, and your brain compares the two. Reward minus expectation. That's it. That's the signal. Your brain is not a pleasure meter. It's running Yelp reviews on reality. Better than expected? 5 stars! Nobody told me there'd be garlic bread! Exactly as expected? 3 stars. I knew what I ordered. Worse than expected? Dopamine activity can actually drop. I waited 40 minutes for this? And this is premium software. Genuinely, it's how you learn, that was good, do it again, and that was terrible. Stop licking that plant. For an animal trying to survive in the wild, this is best in class. There's just one flaw. If a reward shows up over and over, it stops being a surprise. The prediction catches up. What used to make your brain scream becomes, yeah, Tuesday. So to feel the old thing again, you need a bigger one. Then a bigger one. Congratulations, your brain has independently invented inflation. Except the currency is stimulation, and there's no central bank. Which brings us to Exhibit A, food. High-calorie food is extremely good at getting the reward system's attention. And for your ancestors, that was the single most valuable instinct in the kit. Picture it, thousands of years ago. Food is unreliable, calories are precious, and you find honey. Your brain does not say, interesting, perhaps consume 17 grams and reserve the remainder for a balanced breakfast. Your brain says, jackpot! Eat the golden bug syrup! The bees are temporary. Calories are forever. Perfect instinct. Flawless. 10 out of 10. For a world where honey is rare. Now take that exact same brain and put it in a car, at a window, where a building will hand you 1,400 calories without requiring you to stand up. We have defeated scarcity so completely that a caveman survival system is now negotiating directly with DoorDash. That's not an instinct anymore. That's a liability with a loyalty program. And for some people, this turns into a loop. The brain gets used to the reward. The same food produces less of a response. So the reward system proposes a solution. And the solution is brilliant. What if more food? Sir, that is the problem. Yes, but have you considered more problem? And there's evidence this isn't just vibes. In animal research, long-term high-fat diets have been associated with reduced dopamine system activity. Translation: the reward system can get harder to impress, which is a terrible roommate to have living rent-free inside your skull. Because now the ordinary stuff, hobbies, friends, a good afternoon, can start registering quieter. Meanwhile, the high-calorie option keeps yelling from the kitchen like an ex who still has your Netflix password. You know it's bad for you, You want to be healthy. Your rational brain has prepared a PowerPoint. The reward system has eaten the PowerPoint. And for some people, this loss of control gets severe enough to overlap with serious eating disorders. That part isn't a joke, and it isn't a willpower failure either. Game over. But don't worry, your brain has other terrible business ideas. Exhibit B, gambling. Gambling runs on a mechanism called variable ratio reinforcement. Translation, you do the same thing again and again, and the payout arrives unpredictably. Maybe now, maybe next time, maybe after 12 losses, maybe never. And somehow, maybe is one of the most powerful words you can whisper into a reward system. We worked this out in a lab. Mid-20th century, Skinner, a bird, a button. When the food came every time, the bird was chill. When it came sometimes, the bird kept pecking, and pecking, and pecking. We found it in pigeons, and then we built entire cities on top of it. Because the trick isn't the payout, it's the anticipation. Every single pull carries "this could be the one," and that expectation alone keeps the dopamine system idling at high RPM. The slot machine does not need to pay you. It just needs your brain to believe the next one might. Your wallet says, "We have lost $600. Your brain says, "True. But mathematically, what if the next one is sick?" And then there's the masterpiece, the near miss. 2 matching symbols, and the third one lands 1 notch short. You lost. Objectively, financially, you lost. There is no category on your bank statement called almost mortgage payment. But a near miss can raise reward expectation and increase the desire to keep going. You didn't win, and yet, somewhere in your skull, a notification goes off. We are getting warmer. No, Kevin, it's a random number generator. It does not have a memory of your personal growth. And past a certain point, the money stops being the event. The product is the loop itself. Anticipation, tension, result, again. Your rational mind screams, "The house always wins." And the reward system says, "Cool story, pull it again." Game over. Exhibit C, risk. Some people don't need a casino. They have cliffs, roller coasters, bungee jumping, drop towers, and then the varsity division. Free climbing, street racing, exiting a functioning aircraft on purpose. Researchers call these folks high sensation seekers, which is the politest possible way to describe someone whose idea of a sundae is a vertical rock face. And the hardware may genuinely be tuned differently. Work in this area suggests people higher in sensation seeking can show stronger dopamine responses to reward anticipation, higher endogenous dopamine activity, and lower activity of monoamine oxidase, the enzyme whose whole job is cleaning dopamine back up afterward. Bigger spike, weaker cleanup crew. That's not a personality, that's a factory overclock. So normal excitement walks into the room, and the brain goes, "Cute! Can it happen while falling?" And when the demand for stimulation keeps escalating, the definition of acceptable risk drifts. 1 notch, then another. And the envelope does not send warnings. The distance between incredible story and news headline is 1 loose foothold, 1 bad turn. Car smashed, lights out, game over. So, food, gambling, altitude, all bad. But notice something. All 3 of those are still your own reward machinery doing the work. It's being exploited, sure, but it's running on its own terms. That's behavioral addiction. Then humans discovered a shortcut. Why negotiate with the reward system when you can just take the building? Enter nicotine, alcohol, and drugs. Different substances break in through different doors. Nicotine can act on nicotinic acetylcholine receptors and increase the firing of dopamine neurons. Alcohol can dial down inhibitory control involving GABA neurons, which effectively takes a foot off the brake. Opioids can also interfere with that same GABA-related inhibition. Cocaine can block dopamine transporters, so dopamine that should be cleared away just stays. Methamphetamine goes further still, disrupting dopamine transport and driving dopamine back out into the synapse. 5 different mechanisms, one identical corporate strategy. Fire the security department, take over the building. Because your dopamine system was built to say, hey, that might be useful, remember it. And now it's receiving an emergency broadcast that says, this is the most important thing that has ever happened. And if that happens enough, tolerance rises. The system adapts. The same amount lands softer. So the brain asks for more. Again, there's that word, more. And when the substance goes away, dopamine activity can fall off sharply, which is part of what makes withdrawal so brutal. At which point, nobody is chasing an incredible high anymore. They're just trying to stop feeling terrible. That's the trap. The system built to help you choose good behaviors has been promoted to the world's worst life coach. Eat more. Bet again. Go faster. Take more. And every time you ask, is this a good idea? Your brain is already halfway out the door, yelling, we'll find out! Here's the ridiculous part. Your brain is not trying to destroy you. This machinery exists because learning from rewards works. Food kept your ancestors alive. Uncertainty kept them searching. Novelty made them explore. Strong reinforcement made them remember what mattered. The hardware isn't evil, it's just old. And that ancient hardware now lives in a world containing engineered food, casinos, machines that go 200 miles an hour, and chemicals that walk straight past the front desk. Evolution built a survival engine. Modern life handed it a credit card. So the real danger was never that your brain wants pleasure. The danger is that your brain learns. It adjusts. It normalizes. Yesterday's amazing becomes today's baseline. And once baseline stops being enough, the goblin starts shopping for upgrades. Which is why the best moment to catch a loop like this is embarrassingly early. Way earlier than feels necessary. Before once becomes again. Before again becomes I need it. Before the reward system gets promoted to manager, accountant, lawyer, and eventually dictator of your entire life. Because your brain is an extraordinary machine. It is also 3 pounds of wet electrical spaghetti that has already made up its mind. And it should not, under any circumstances, be allowed to drive. I'm MR.Q. If this video handed your dopamine system a pleasant little reward prediction error, hit subscribe. Preferably before your brain finds something significantly more expensive.